The Fever have clinched a playoff spot, and it looks like they will either be facing off against the Aces or the Dream. So I want to break that down a little bit. Also, Shakira Austin did not seem to be happy that there were so many fans cheering for the Fever. Plus, there seems to be trouble in paradise between Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. So after the beatdown the Washington Mystics took by the Indiana Fever have officially clinched a spot in the playoffs. Right now, they sit at the number 7 seed, which makes the possibility of them going up against the Aces pretty high. That's pretty much who I think that they're going to be facing up against. There's also the possibility that they'll go up against the Dream, and there's an even slighter possibility that they'll go up against the Mercury. But I doubt the Mercury will get the number 2 seed, and I doubt the Aces are going to lose any more games. They are on an absolutely insane, meteoric 14-game winning streak as it is right now. So if they maintain on that same trajectory and they don't really have any competitive teams left to play, then they will clinch that number 2 spot in the playoffs. And I hope you're following me here, but if the Indiana Fever maintain the number 7 spot, and that totally depends on how the Storm and the Valkyries play, but it pretty much looks like they are going to sit at number 7, meaning they will be going up against the Las Vegas Aces in the first round of the playoffs. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people think that the Vegas Aces are the best matchup for the Indiana Fever, but I have been increasingly getting a little nervous about going up against the Aces because after their most recent win, they are now 14 games straight at winning, which is tied for the 4th longest winning streak in WNBA history. The last game that the Aces lost was an absolute belted 111-58 by the Minnesota Lynx, of which after the game, A'ja Wilson was quoted as saying, "If you weren't embarrassed from yesterday, then don't come into this gym. You are not needed or wanted here." It's crazy to say something like that. It's crazy to just kind of flip the mentality, but they did. After that crazy beatdown, they haven't lost a game. So while the beginning of the season, the Aces actually looked mortal, they actually looked bad, and this is a team with 4 Olympians on it. Jewell Loyd went to the team, they lost Kelsey Plum, and it was obvious that Kelsey Plum was a big glue piece for that team. Bringing Jewell Loyd in, this flamethrower Jewell Loyd, was not cutting it. She ended up getting benched. Somehow, her getting benched helped her find her shot. And there is no denying the absolute dominance of A'ja Wilson on the court. So while they were definitely a beatable team, the Indiana Fever actually lead the series 2-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. That's a team that I feel a little nervous to go up against. Whereas the Dream, for some reason, I feel a little better. I would feel a little better about going up against the Atlanta Dream, but here are the obstacles with them because they are no walk in the park also. They have Alicia Gray, who a lot of people have been talking about for MVP. She is definitely not winning it, but she was in heavy contention. They are a threat at the perimeter. Rhyne Howard, the other day she drilled 9 3-pointers in one game. I think she did that in one half of a game. Not to mention 6'9" Brittney Griner posted up under the basket, but even more dominant than Brittney Griner has been Bree Jones. So they are a threat in the paint, and they are also a threat from the perimeter. But again, I don't know why I see them. This is a more intuitive feeling. I see them as more beatable than the Aces. That does not mean that they're easy though. It really doesn't. And the fact of the matter is they are going to be either the number 2 or the number 3 seed. And Indiana are coming in as the underdogs. And Indiana are like a revolving door of hardship players. One person I've actually been very surprised by is Aerial Powers. It doesn't make sense because when I watch her dribble, she has a wonky dribble, like super wonky. Her decision making is pretty slow, but when I look at her stats and I look at how many minutes she's on the court, and also a lot of the things that I see her do that don't show up on the stat sheet, she puts up some pretty hefty numbers, especially in the rebounding game. And rebounding is something that the Indiana Fever have been lacking for a lot of the season. And if they go up against the Dream, they are going to need that rebounding, especially when it comes to going up against Brittney Griner or Bree Jones. And Aerial Powers, although she's 6 foot tall, she is dominant on the glass, as is Aaliyah Boston most of the time. And Kelsey Mitchell is going to have to dig deep if Indiana want to make a deep run in the playoffs. Because I gotta be real, it doesn't look like they're the most dominant team going into postseason. That being said, at the same time, the fact that they're even in the playoffs is kind of a testament to how gritty, how they aren't willing to back down, and how they should never be counted out. But again, I gotta be real, because the only way that I see the Indiana Fever getting through the first round is if they dig deep and if everybody has a good game. Kelsey Mitchell has to be the flamethrower that I know she can be. Aaliyah Boston has to be dominant. She has to bully through the paint, because sometimes she's very dominant in games, and sometimes I see her be a little more passive. Not as often lately, but there have been 2 games in the past 5 games where I have wanted a little more out of Aaliyah Boston. But Aaliyah Boston has the court IQ. Kelsey Mitchell has gotten a lot better with her passing. Odyssey Sims has stepped in, and she's been pretty solid. Aerial Powers, I really like what she's doing with her rebounding game. I hope that her dribbling game changes a little bit and maybe her decision making gets a little faster. And I really hope that Steph White devises a plan against Becky Hammon and Carl Smesko, because Carl Smesko, what he has done with the Atlanta Dream, and the Atlanta Dream are a team that scraped by barely getting into the playoffs last season, to be pretty much clinging on to the number 2 spot for the majority of the season, number 2 or number 3. Steph White has some formidable competition. Before I move on to the next segment, let me know who you think and who you would want the Indiana Fever to play in the playoffs. So at the aforementioned belt down that the Indiana Fever gave the Washington Mystics, Shakira Austin came out and did not appreciate all of the Caitlin Clark and Fever fans that were at their September 7th meetup. So the Washington Mystics Indiana Fever game had been moved to CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore, where the Mystics don't usually play, but because it can hold a lot more, and because this was moved before Caitlin Clark's injury, that's where they faced off for the September 7th game. The Mystics generally play at Care First Arena, which only holds 4,200 people, so it kind of makes sense that they would move it. But after the game, in the post-game presser, Shakira Austin made her feelings known when she told the press, "I'm hoping we can get some real support from our own fans and what we have building up. We had MVP chants for Asia a couple of games ago, which I understand, which is weird that she understands that, but okay. But it's like, we're in DC, so support us. So I'm hoping Baltimore can be an arena where we consistently play in to get those fans. But if they're not going to cheer for us, then I don't want to play here." She also said, "If fans were here to support us and it felt like a home game, I wouldn't mind coming out here," to Baltimore basically. "But if they're going to be wishy-washy, then keep it in DC." I am pretty tired of everybody complaining about the Indiana Fever crowd. I am not sure what she should be expecting, especially when going up against a team that Caitlin Clark is on, because it wasn't different last season. It's not very different this season, unless you're playing in Valhalla, which definitely does not support Caitlin Clark. And those fans, oh my God, they're a different breed. Kudos to you, Valkyrie fans. But I don't know, it just feels like the more you complain about a fan base, the more backlash you're gonna get. I don't know if she's trying to get in the media. I don't know if she's trying to get some coverage, but I don't understand how she can assume anything different. It's not as if Caitlin herself is asking fans to show up, and even though she's not playing, she is constantly signing autographs, constantly taking that time to talk to fans. And when there is that type of complaining, it kind of comes off a little whiny. No shade, but that's just the truth. And I seriously doubt it's going to bring more fans in. I think the more that the WNBA players realize this and understand this and maybe take it on as like a challenge, like the chip on their shoulder they need to like beat a team, the more successful their team, their league, and their fans will want to flock to them. In other news, Angel Reese was suspended for half a game for detrimental comments that she said about her team by the Chicago Sky. They actually put out a statement saying the Chicago Sky values safety, respect, and the well-being of every player. We are committed to accountability so our players can stay focused on playing basketball. This matter has been handled and resolved internally, and we are moving forward as a team. Some of the remarks that she said about the team were, and pardon my French, "I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year." They have to get great players. And then she talked about Courtney Vandersloot, who is kind of a legend of the game. We can't rely on Courtney Williams to come back at the age that she's at. I know she'll be a great asset to us, but we can't rely on that. We need someone probably a little younger, somebody who has been playing the game and who is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before. The word is a lot of the players, especially Ariel Atkins, did not appreciate this. So they suspended her for half a game, and that game was last night. Then, all of a sudden, I get a notification on my phone saying Angel Reese will be out for Sunday's game due to a back injury. Right. There have been trade talks starting. There have been tons of talks that Angel Reese is not happy on the team. She called out Jeff Pagliacca, the general manager, who, by the way, really does suck as a GM. But there is trouble in paradise between Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. I predict that she'll probably be traded, and this has caused a firestorm of conversations all over the internet. A lot of people are saying free Angel. There was even a group of people chanting free Angel at the Aces game last night, and some people are saying that she's whining. Now, she says that these comments were taken out of context, and there was a representative from the Chicago Sky, a PR representative, that did not stop her from talking. And this writer from the Chicago Sun-Times did submit the article to the Chicago Sky, who okayed it and apparently let it be published. So there was like a flurry of mistakes made. The PR person who was there, who let Angel Reese keep talking and saying those things that I think were kind of weird to say. I don't know how they could be taken out of context with those particular statements. So the PR person made the mistake. Angel Reese made the mistake saying it. And the Chicago Sky organization made a mistake okaying it. Sometimes you just gotta laugh. But if you have any thoughts about anything in the video, if you have any thoughts about the Indiana Fever in the playoffs, playing the Aces, the Dream, who do you want them to play with, or about what Shakira Austin said, or about the Angel Reese situation, get down in the comments.